All right, I'm here with my buddy Bobo. Yeah, and this is Martha. Martha didn't really participate much in the video above, but we love her, and so we're going to go ahead and introduce her anyways. This is their roadmap to success. Bobo evidently he doesn't have his SAG card yet, so he doesn't want to be on camera. All right, so this is their roadmap to success. So what do we talk about? We started off by going over marker words. The Guardians here already had a marker word of good. I'm going to leave a clicker with you. I would like you to load the clicker and use the clicker when you're doing the video, the exercise in the video above. Clicker and good are the same thing. The only difference is the clicker is better. It works about 18 to 20% better. It's also a more distinctive sound. But in order for that to work, you need to create a classically conditional response. Walk around your house, click, treat, click, treat. The first couple of times, keep the clicker behind your back. Don't put it right next to his ear. And you want to do that with about 15 to 20 treats, walking around the house, good. Maybe 3 to 4 times until when you click, stops and looks at you. At that point, you can stop loading it, and then you can use it. So I use the clicker when I'm actively training. I have it in my hand, but the rest of the time I use good, I use yes. But I use my marker word because I can articulate that at any point. The clicker, my clicker right now is over there on the table. So if he did something just a minute ago, he laid down, and I said good and petted him. So good and click are the same thing, so don't do them at the same time. Good. We went over marker words. The Guardians already used them, and we went over hand targeting. Now, I prefer to do hand targeting where the dog touches and stays with my hand. So I move my hand, the dog touches it, and we're saying the marker word, remember, the instant the dog does it. So you guys might want to practice with each other and watch each other to make sure your timing is good, because when I was doing it, I was going touch, the dog was touching his nose, and then you were saying we're saying good as you're moving the treat there. So it should be good as soon as he makes contact. Remember, good, the marker word is the indicator that lets the dog know it did the thing that you want. It comes exactly when they do it or slightly after. I would also advise you guys to try to avoid saying good dog or good boy. So that good has its own resonance. And when you say good, don't say any other words for 5 seconds. Let that word just really sink in and resonate. Or click. Don't ever click for attention. It's to click to mark only. It'll work great if you're clicking for attention, but after a while, it'll stop working altogether. We also went over, we went over the Celebrate game, which is something I recommend for all of my clients. It is the easiest way to train dogs. It only works though if you get in a habit of doing it. So every time, so Martha's coming over here, so as soon as if she comes close enough, she kind of walks, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and celebrate that. Good. I didn't ask her to come, but I find her coming to me as a desired behavior. So I say, good. Good. Did I ask her to lay down? No. But laying down is also a desired behavior. So I mark and reward the things the dogs do that I don't ask them to do, that they choose to do on their own volition. I try to avoid giving dogs attention for unwanted behaviors because all attention for dogs is validating, which is a fancy way of saying that if you yell at your dog, which I don't advise, but if you yell at your dog, bad dog, for doing something, it's almost like giving them a treat because you're giving them attention. So what I do instead is the dog, when she jumped up on me, I just kind of leaned back and I disengaged. I didn't look at her, I didn't talk to her, I didn't shoo her away or push her away because that's giving her attention to make you more likely to do it. Now, one of the things you have to be careful of is something called chaining behaviors. So if she comes up, jumps on me, and I ignore her, and then she sits down, I say good and pet her when she jumps down, she thinks that's one whole thing. I jump up, and then I sit down, and David pets me. So if that's the case, you see that consistently, then I might ask her when she jumps down, I might ask her to lay down, and then reward and mark that. So it's something I'm asking her to do. But you really just want to disengage from a dog when it's doing things you don't like. What I like to do if a dog's doing something I don't like is I try to distract them with what I call the positive interrupter. So if you watch, can you see Martha in that? So if you watch Martha, let's see if I can get her attention. So all attention is rewarding. So if Martha is sniffing the trash and I go, well, that time she didn't look, puppy, puppy, puppy. There we go. The other one that people often use is beep, 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 beep. Didn't work. So kind of worked. So puppy worked good. If you use a word, you want to use the word 3 or 4 times in a row in a very quick cadence with a high pitch, like I did, puppy, puppy, puppy. Don't say puppy, puppy, puppy. We want to have some rhythm to it. So all we're trying to do is get the dog to look at me. When the dog looks at me, then I go touch, and I don't know if she has a touch yet or she's a chihuahua, she doesn't care. And then the dog comes over and touches his nose to your hand. Then you give them something else to do. You do some scent work. You take the dog for a walk. You play tug. You do some training. Otherwise, the dog's going to go right back to the trash. So a positive interrupter lesson is to positively interrupt them. And after you've interrupted them, then you give them something else to do so they don't go back to getting in trouble. That's my preferred method of stopping dogs from doing things we don't want. Now, once they've gotten it, that's a little bit more intense, and that means that's harder to stop. Once a dog's reactive, Gardy was asking me, I thought I wasn't supposed to pull dogs away. That's a massive paw. I only pull a dog away in an emergency situation. If a dog's reactive, it's hysterical. If I'm hysterical and I'm mad at somebody, my friends might pull me away. Normally, it's not advisable for my friends to grab me and pull me away, but if I can't think properly, they're going to help me get out of that situation because they're looking out for me. So that's one of the few times that I would pull a dog away if it's overreactive. But if we're following the instructions above and looking for the dog's cutoff signals and body language, we should be able to recognize that they're starting to feel uncomfortable and get them away from there before they feel the need to really react that intensely. All right, so celebrating, getting back to what we were talking about before, is rewarding the dogs. Is she underneath me? When they do things on their own, we say the marker word and we pet, preferably on the chin or on the chest. And you want to do this as many times as the dog does those things. If a dog walks up to me right now and I say good and pet and continue the conversation, it didn't take me any time. After about 2 months, you guys are going to get a habit of doing it if you do this a lot. And after a while, the dog walks up and say good and pet and continue your conversation. Every time you pet your dog, just about, it becomes a micro dog training session that clearly communicates to the dog what it can do to get your attention. It also helps boost the dog's confidence because it's secure in knowing what it needs to do. It also helps the dog practice listening to you, and you're also encouraging a desirable behavior. I always say desirable versus undesirable behaviors because good and bad implies morality. So if I say the dog is bad because he jumped up, dogs jump up on each other during greetings. That's a normal behavior. There's no good or bad for that. We don't want them to jump up on us, so we teach them an alternative behavior the same way we teach dogs not to pee or poop in the house because that's desirable for us. But normally dogs pee or poop wherever they do except for where they sleep. So we need to teach our dogs how we want them to behave as opposed to just getting mad at them for doing things we haven't taught them. And then that's frustrating for the dog. Good. Now I can pet a dog anywhere I want, but I never start by petting a dog on top of the head. Dogs interpret that as dominance. So we went over cutoff signals. Well, actually, before we go over that, we went over the celebrate game. Tell each other celebrate. Good. And I can celebrate that as well. So celebrating is rewarding the dogs when it goes from a lay down to a side lay down. Tell each other celebrate if somebody misses it. So if somebody missed it, he walked up to me and they said good, or said celebrate. I said good, and I just go start petting him. So after a while, though, I'm going to be mindful. If I watch him coming towards me, I say good myself when he comes here, and you won't even realize that you're doing it. So say celebrate to each other to help each other get into that habit and reward as many positive things as you possibly can. If you're doing a lot, that's great. That's the best way to start a habit. Now, the other thing is a lot of dogs paw at us, jump at us, nudge at us, bark at us for attention. He was doing a lot of those things. That's the kind of a kid saying, Mommy, go make me chicken nuggets. Mom would say, would you like to ask for those chicken nuggets again? Child says, can I please have chicken nuggets? Mom goes and makes them. And if the child doesn't say it in a nice way, the mom goes back to doing what she's doing. So when he nudges you or barks for attention, what I like you to do is ignore him. If he starts mouthing you, stand up. If he continues, you could leave. But when you do these reactions, you need to do them bang, bang. If he's chewing on you, and you get up and leave away, he's like, oh, it's the 5th time I chew that he'll leave. So as soon as the dog does something you don't want, that's when I leave. But the negative punishment is one of the strongest punishments I use. I don't like to use it very often. I prefer to redirect. So like I mentioned, a lot of times when he's doing that stuff, he's probably bored. He probably needs some exercise, a walk or tug of war or something like that. But when he does those things, if that's not the case, if I have sufficiently exercised him and he nudges me or paws or barks, I'm going to tell him to sit or to lie down. I'm going to tell him one time, he has 2 seconds to do it. If he does it, I mark and reward. Good, and I pet him. If he doesn't do it, I go back to reading the paper, making art, writing a song, listening to music, checking an email, whatever it is. So if he doesn't do what I want, he doesn't get rewarded and marked. So he knows that he didn't do the right thing. That motivates him. One of the things that most people don't realize is half of how dogs learn is not doing the right thing and then not being rewarded. A lot of times we tell a dog, sit, sit, sit. He doesn't sit, we give him the treat anyways. Well, why the hell do I have to sit? You're going to give me that treat no matter what. So making the dog work for it and then rewarding them when they do the thing that you want builds confidence. It also is a great way to train. It builds respect for you and just beneficial. So say manners to each other. If you come in the room and you see he's barking at one of you and you start petting him, the other person says manners. I say sit. If he sits, I say good and I pet him under his chin. If he doesn't, then I just go back to doing what I'm doing. Remember, playing hard to get works great for dating. It also works great for dog training. So that will make him more motivated to want to sit the next time that you ask him to do so. After a while, he'll start coming and sitting in front of you to prepay for the attention by sitting, and bet your butt, you better be petting him when he does that. Guardian's doing a great celebration behind the camera right now. Love it. All right, so that's basically celebrating, and manners are those two sides of the same coin. Celebrating is when the dog chooses to do it without any influence from us. We're recognizing and rewarding it. Manners is if the dog is asking for us for attention in a way that we don't really appreciate. We're going to redirect them into the way that we want them to ask for it, and then mark and reward them when they do that. All right, now we also I was talking about exercise a minute before. Exercise, your average dog needs about an hour's worth of exercise every day, and not all at once. So he goes for 2 1-hour walks a day, which is really impressive. Most people don't take that much time. But it'd be better if we can get maybe 3 30-minute walks spread out throughout the day, and then also do some mental stimulation. Like to play tug of war. Tug of war is a great way to burn energy, but just don't let him get past the level 5. If 0 is asleep, 10 is as crazy as he gets. When he gets to level 5, whatever the activity should stop. So if we practice too aroused, that's when mistakes happen. Call somebody a redneck or whatever it is. So instead, we want to keep it even keeled. All right, so for exercise, fetch is a great way to burn energy. Playing tug of war is a great way to burn energy. There's other things that you could do, but he has some physical character attributes that we don't want to really overtax his body. And so mental stimulation can be really important for him. So we did Cookie in the Corner, which is a scent game. I recommend feeding out of a snuffle mat and other treat dispensing toys like an Omega Paw Tricky Treat Ball. There's I think it's Sir Wobble-Lot. It looks like a Weeble Wobble by Kong with a hole in it. There's one that's a UFO, and it kind of looks like a flying saucer where you put the kibble in, they got it tilted just right to get a couple pieces to come out. Try to find 3 to 5 of those, including a snuffle mat, and then feed one of these each meal. This way, each meal is like a short walk that we're adding to his repertoire if he's fed twice a day or 3 times a day. Twice. So that's an extra 2 short walks that you get just by letting him do, just by feeding him. Now remember, on walks, dogs burn almost twice as much energy by sniffing on the walk than not sniffing. So I kind of let dogs go wherever they want to go. We were talking about heeling. I don't like teaching a dog to heel because they're not allowed to sniff on a heel walk. So I just don't want the dog to pull on the leash. Now a little trick for the walk is if you're letting him do it, have a treat in your hand at all times. Every time it looks at you, good, and hold the treat out. That causes him to come back to us. That's a foundational approach for loose leash walking. Although the Guardians look like they did a pretty good job of teaching him heel or walking next to them. I don't think it's an actual heel, but from what I saw, he was doing a really good job. Now, don't expect a dog that knows how to heel or walk with a loose leash to walk next to a scary thing and maintain that. I'm a good driver. You release 100 hornets into my car while I'm driving down the 405, my driving skills are diminished really quickly. Same sort of things. A lot of people think my dog is being disobedient. Can't believe you're letting that fly go all over your face and not doing anything. Anyways, basically exercise and mental stimulation, we want to do it throughout the day, alternating between the 2 of them. Other things we can, a sniff walk is kind of a hybrid between the 2 of them, but we can also, now it's in your eye. Yes, you can eat that thing. We can also play Cookie in the Corner or other scent games. I suggested the Guardians Google enrichment, DIY enrichment, and look for it on Facebook. And there's a lot of enrichment games, and there's also scent games. So I'd like you to find 2 to 3 of each one of those. That way you have some stuff to do inside. If you have a cold, you can still play Cookie in the Corner or hide treats around your house or whatever it is. One of the things I like to do is also kind of dog scavenger hunt with boxes. Shredding is a very normal behavior for dogs. So if you have a couple boxes from Amazon, get some pieces of paper that are kind of like about that big, and just fill the box full of those, and then take a couple of them and put a piece of kibble in it, crumple it a little bit, put another piece of kibble, crumple again. So these little balls have like 5 or 7 of them. I put a handful of treats in the confetti as well. Then I close the box, maybe put another box similar way. Get a toilet paper tube. Same thing with the toilet paper, shoving it in the toilet paper tube or the paper towel tube. So now we have a box in a box in a box. And he's over there, he's looking for it, sniffing, looking for those treats, unwrapping the wrapper, licking that little treat up, taking a lot of time. This is a great way to drain some energy for him. Having a couple of those boxes stashed off to the side, you have a guest come over, you give him a couple of those, or an Omega treat ball or something like that. He's doing other things. You can also exercise him ahead of time. Hey, buddy. If you're going to take him for a walk, exercise him first. And then give him 10 minutes of rest, then take him for a walk. You probably have a better walk. If you have guests come over, practice a little exercise first. Just make sure, again, he has 10 minutes of rest. Same thing, engage, disengage in the video above this one, so you can set your dog up for success. Remember, when he's like overly playing with Martha or he's nudging you a lot, he's probably saying, I'm overly bored. That fly is just taking advantage of you, buddy. And so the idea is to come up with a rhythm that is reasonable for your lifestyle, that achieves his needs, and they get in the habit of doing that. We also talked about the Premack principle, which means less desirable behavior earns me more desirable behavior. Hey, boss, can I leave? Your boss comes up and says, hey, as soon as you finish the TPS reports for today, you can leave early. Well, I'm going to get those TPS reports done immediately so I can leave early. So ask him to sit before you prepare his food. Sit before you invite him out on the couch. Sit before you open the door, and things along those lines can really help. We want to find ways for dogs to practice self-restraint, some impulse control. That's going to help with barking at the fence and some of these other things. Fortunately, the Guardians recognized they had a trainer before that wanted to use shock collars and stuff like that on them. Those things are suppressive. They don't fix the problem. They just push it down, and then eventually it comes out, usually in a worse manifestation. So kudos to you guys for looking for something good. We did a lot of talking in this session, like I'm doing right now, but I think it's exercise and stuff is going to be really beneficial for him. Now, what I'd invite you guys to do is, well, make sure you celebrate like, oh, good. I remembered one other thing. We went over cutoff signals. I'll have it linked above, but remember, watch for those cutoff signals. Oh, look at how cute she is. Look for those cutoff signals. And remember, that could be for you guys interacting with him and them interacting with each other. So she was giving him cutoff signals when I first got here. She was in my lap and he's coming up, doopsie-doo, and she was like baring her teeth. He's like, whatever, I'm not paying attention to you. You guys need to pay attention for him. And then call him away. Give him something else to do so she doesn't need to snarl. Now, she was good about it. There wasn't a fight, but fights do happen for those sort of things. So making sure that the dogs see that you guys are being amicable, and when I don't want something, you're keeping him away, and when she doesn't, vice versa. So now I feel secure. Watching you burn energy is a great way of illustrating that you are serious about whatever it is you're doing. Yelling at them or telling them over and over without following through doesn't send the same message. So watch for those cutoff signals. And then remember, he liked being petted on his chest. We didn't do it with her, but find out where her favorite place to be petted is. When you're out walking around, if somebody wants to meet him, ask them to hold their hand out in front of him, but only if you feel they're comfortable. Now they're like, oh my God, he looks like the dog that I had was a boy and he got hit by a car and I never got to say goodbye. Can I give him a hug? And he doesn't want to meet them. That's their problem to deal with. Your job is to always be your dog's advocate. And if somebody won't listen to you, step in front of your dog. I have a dog myself that will bite people to put their face in his face because the guy did something I wasn't when I was a puppy, and I didn't realize he was doing it, and he was just kept on forcing himself in, and then he was like, dog's face is here, and he turned to me, and he screamed, he goes, he's such a good looking dog, and he scared him. Now any man that puts his face in his face, he tries to bite. He doesn't like that. So we don't want the nipping behavior to start because of this. So if you're looking out and you're telling people, hold your hand out, and if he touches his nose to your hand, then he's saying you pet him, and you like to be petted on the chest, nobody's petting on the top of the head and all that, he's starting to start feeling more comfortable meeting new people. Now, also giving people treats to give your dog is also a helpful thing to do as well. And if your vibe tells you that he doesn't want to meet him, even if you're not sure, walk him away. Don't risk it. It's not worth it. All right, so my clients that get the best results, watch the video above. I didn't really go over how often to practice that one. I'd like to see if you guys can, each one of you guys practice about 5 or 6 minutes once a day. So if each guy you guys wants to do is once a day and keep score, and maybe keep a little counter. Make it a competition. I got 43 click for looks. Well, I got 78 or whatever, and then you're kind of using that competition to add more. But again, I'll leave that clicker. Use the clicker for that and for other training purposes. Just make sure you load it like I talked about earlier. So practice that exercise, and again, recruit your friends. And if he barks at dogs or whatever, the male, oh yeah, I forgot something else. So the other thing is when the UPS guy comes, if you can, if you're out here a lot, like you guys are, you see the UPS, turn your camera on record audio and go out there and hold it so you hear the truck pull up, the brakes, the stopping, the sliding door, the guy getting out, and then basically play that on a loop while they're eating their dinner or their lunch at a low volume. When they're eating out of a regular bowl, you could do it on the snuffle band stuff as well. If they stop eating, it's too loud. So play it at a low enough volume where they'll eat, but they can hear it. And then once after they've eaten a couple meals, then raise it up a little bit each time until eventually you're going through your actual amplified speaker. And it sounds like the UPS has just crashed through your door. And he's looking around like, somebody around owes me a treat. So similar principle about what we did above. It's a counter conditioning exercise, but basically we're just changing his emotional response from something I don't like to something that gets me, there's something in it for me, I like it. So make a list of all the things that he does that for, and then practice with him systematically. I practice one at a time. Do the UPS truck till the UPS is no more. Then do FedEx and the garbage trucks or anything else that it is. But instead of running for those things, you probably try to avoid it. You could do that, And that's important, but I want to spend as much time as we can helping him practice a positive emotional response so that he wants to do that as opposed to being something that he thinks he's barking going away. Last thing is, remember, all attention rewarding. So try to, as much as you can, not correct for jumping up and the rest of that stuff. Now, this video is the one that seems to get people the most mileage. Watch this particular video once a week until when you're watching, you get to the end and they're like, we are doing all of this stuff. If you're still having a problem at that point, let me know. We can set up a follow-up session. About 90% of my clients don't need it. And he doesn't have a severe case of anxiety or aggression based on, he had a lot of health issues growing up, so I'm kind of surprised. So I think that if you start watching out for his cutoff signals, body language, all the rest of this stuff, he's gonna feel more secure, and you're combined with the engage-disengage game and knowing what to look for, I think you're gonna be in good shape. All right, well, that's the end of the session. This is my buddy Bobo. This is his little pal, Martha, and this is David, and this is the roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.